Hey, Brian from Blackseed. Thanks for joining. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Today we're going to go back on the 90 sport truck build. I haven't made it to the console subwoofer box yet. That's coming up. I'm actually still kind of designing what I want, measurements and stuff. I need to move one of the seats in like 4 inches, just because it's a little non-symmetrical on the original factory bolt, so I'm gonna have to kind of drill my own on that piece. A couple things I need to do on the dash. My speaker grill covers, this ain't gonna work, so we're going to work on that, and then trying to figure out what I want to do for the center vent cover. I think it'll all look similar, but I'm trying to make these match my Q-form grills. So a little bit of work. Let me show you what we're working with at this point. All right, so remember, this is what we're starting with. Still have to come back and redo that piece, but here's the grill. 4x6 is set there. I cut out that center, and I want basically my 4x6s and that to match my Q-forms. However, if I use speaker grill cloth on the center, may not work. But I think because I have the billet steering wheel, maybe I can tie in something that looks billet or polished aluminum, something of that nature. But that's horrible. I want to upgrade that. Got a few tricks. Let's work on converting that grill into something that's a little more custom. All right, so listen, the reason we're jumping to the grills because I've been rolling the truck since I've dropped it, and man, it's got 3 4x6s in it right now, and it's killing me. I need to pick up some RCAs and some power wire and get the Phoenix Gold 6.5 components in the thing pretty quick. Otherwise, I'm gonna slip my throat. The music's just not working for me right now. So let's get these suckers done. All right, so trying to explain this part. So both of these speaker grills are exactly the same. 4x6 is in the same location. So I'm basically using them as a pattern to tell me where to route. Now, I normally use plastic, however, it's a week of Christmas, and I don't think Mr. Plastic's gonna bring me any ABS this week, so I'm just using, it's tempered hardboard, it's or masonite, it's probably 1/8 inch. So I cut this one all the way out, and I cut this one just on my 4x6, and again, they're the same size. So what I did was I laid my first piece down, and I traced out the inside, and I traced out the outside edge. And then I pushed it up maybe 1/4 inch and marked it. See that upper mark? I went back to position, pushed it out 1/4 inch, marked it. See my mark? And I did that all the way around. Set it up, inside mark, push it out 1/4, I got that mark. Same thing here. And remember, I did my outside mark. So now I bring this piece in, line it up to my outside mark, and I trace out my 4x6. At the end of the day, I'm only going to take out the 4x6. The reason for my 1/4 inch gap around, so this outside line no longer matters. It was only so I could place my 4x6. Because I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to make a duplicate just of this. But this 1/4 inch right here is for routing. So basically, I'm going to cut this outside piece out. I'm going to route this. Then I'm going to cut this out. And then I can wrap it and push it up through the center of this. And it should give me what I'm looking for. So let's try that. All right, so again, just quick recap. I'm using a scroll saw blade on my jigsaw. Or they got, DeWalt makes a scroll blade, basically. If I'm cutting hardboard, that's what I'm using. And I'm going to show you my cuts again, and then I'm going to go into cutting. Not cutting this out till last. This is the outside measurement I use to set up my template. I'm cutting to the outside line, and then I'm going to route a 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to cut it out. And then I'm going to wrap it, and then it may all go together. Then it may all go to shit. I have no idea. Let's check it out. All right, I'm just going to rough cut it a little bit to the outside. Just so I can get rid of that piece. Now I'm going to do a little bit more precision cut to the outside line. Okay, I got that done. Look, so you could use something like the acrylic templates that are out there. This is just a little square where you do template tape on it. You get the soft rolled edge that you want, and then you duplicate it on the router. It uses it as a guide. If you haven't seen this, it's pretty neat. I'll show you a little close up on this. And I know everybody doesn't have a router at home, and you know this. What you could do is basically I'm trying to thin out my material so it sets as high up in the grill as possible. You may just have to get creative with it. Maybe a thinner layer that you may be able to get this thickness under the grill, just because speaker sets up in there quite a bit. So what you could do is stack it. You could take this piece and make another piece that's 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. And then you basically have two, right? You glue them together and you would then create your lip. For me, I was going to do it like this because that's how I do. Now it's actually going to be more than a 1/4 inch. I probably should have did it. It'll probably be just hair over a 1/4, but it'll be fine. And by the way, if you do a lot of woodworking, car audio type stuff, or interior, whatever, a router lift and you know, different bits from like 12-volt tools, dude, they make some cool stuff. And by the way, this router's not even plugged in, so my fingers on the bit, not to worry, I got safety glasses. So the router table, I typically have one of these Allen things and a drill, and I can zip it up and down whatever I'm doing. Since this cuts a little more precision because I too much material off and I've screwed up my piece, I'm just going to use the manual crank. And seeing this just winding up. And then whenever you get up to your piece, see what I'm saying, and you're wanting to go a 64th or something, all you gotta do is turn it. I want to cut this edge. See that bearing I'm talking about? See how it rides? If you had two pieces, or if you had your like plastic piece on top, you could wind it up more, and I would know, and I would know how high to come into my material for this, but the bearing would ride on whatever piece you put your template to. We can worry about that later. All I'm looking for now is how high I'm going to bring this into it. I'm barely going to take any material off of this. Probably a 16th. So the other thing is, I want to leave this project with as many fingers as I start with. I always use, these are from Inca, and they make small ones, bigger ones. It's a small project. I can get both my hands up here on this piece, and the rubber pad grips it. So when I'm going around, I have a shield and it's gripped. My piece kind of got between the router bearing and the bit, so notched it in just a little bit, and you can see all the material that's kind of extra. Let me clean that up. This thing, I love this tool just for this purpose, but if not, I grab a rasp file and you just run it across the edge of hardboard and it's done. All right. Can you see how I cut it? Now the moment of truth, will it fit in the speaker grill? See what I did here? Now of course I'm using 1/2-inch piece. Can you see the bevel I put on it? So here's where I'm kind of at a crossroad, and you see just speaker grill cloth. It's going to be something simple, is that I'm going to go ahead and finish these out flat. And the speaker grill cloth should be below the vinyl. It should look pretty good. But I could also stack it with another piece. Hell, I could take 1/2-inch MDF and throw that same bevel on it with the router table and set it in there and make it raise up a little higher. I think I'm digging it with it below the plastic grill level. But the bevel looks good on the Q-forms. I don't think that's going to matter. It had to be up a little bit anyway. See, this stuff that slows me down. I may have it 2 different ways, 3 different ways before I like it. And if I don't like it, I'll scrap it and start over. Now let's look at how we get to this piece. How do we get here? Obviously, it's just cut out. How do you wrap that? And we got a couple little spots we got to finish. And then we'll do our 4x6 cutouts in both. And then we'll epoxy these. We'll go set it in the truck see how it fits. This plastic piece, obviously we cut off the clips when we did this. It fit really snug in the speaker opening when I dropped it. If it doesn't, we have some powerful magnets we could drop an epoxy in the dash side and this side, so these snap in and stay, but may not be necessary. We'll have to see. The press fit was pretty good on these. Let's cut apart the driver's side and wrap it and get to this point. All right, so old trusty Dremel, and they make just using a Dremel with the Easy Lock plastic bits. And dude, I don't know if you notice how dirty the doors were on the blue truck, but when I pulled the dash and everything, there's like a inch of dirt everywhere. I've washed that inside that truck multiple times, even when stripped down. But when I cut these grills out and there's a little bit of dirt inside, dude, it smells like a chicken house or something. It's pretty gnarly. Plugging the device in helps. So I'm just not cutting out the center. I didn't do this one when I did the other one because I wanted the 4x6 cut out in just to use it as a template. So now I'm going back and finishing it. God, and it stinks. Like a chicken shit in my mouth. It's horrible. It's horrible. Taste it. It's bad. Hot plastic and chicken shit. Try not to hit that outside edge. I don't want to score it. I'm cutting up to the corner. Cutting up to the corner that's rounded. I'm going to get as tight as I can. If I have to, I'll switch over to a die grinder with a carbide bit to finish out my corner. I think I was able to get it. Let's show you my cut. I just kind of got arrived to it. Now I'm cutting across because I want to get the bulk out of the way. And then just finesse that last edge. No turning back now. That's a ton, they ain't gonna come off. Kind of need to do the back too. That's a hot sticky piece. That's a completely sticky piece. Both these get dry. I got my heat gun set up offside. I'm gonna let it just heat up on the bench, and then once I wrap this, I'll heat it. We'll be back to this table. So listen, if I'm coming up to a corner, see how I cut my ears? I gotta take a lot of the bulk out before I wrap it. Makes it a little easier. Kind of did the same on my curve, but then I slit some pieces here, just so when I'm wrapping it, it's a little easier. I am cutting this kind of tight. There's not a lot of material on the back side. And then where the VIN plate goes, I kind of made a diagonal cut down to the groove. And I'm only deep enough so that when I heat it and roll it, my cuts will be on the back side, right? So that's kind of what the piece looks like. I'm not trimming out the inside. I'm just going to heat up these edges, heat up the whole thing right now so I can work it with my hands. So this entire thing's warm. And I'm just starting with the deepest cut, pulling around. See if I can. I'm just pulling it around. See, we can come in and cut this off. See my corner? I'm gonna heat it up a little more. Heat up a little more along this edge so I can wrap it. I'm just heating it and trying to pull over this lip. Now I may need some more glue. I didn't get enough glue right there. There's not a ton of glue in this corner. I'm going to re-glue this. I'm going to do it with a little brush. See these deep recesses? I'm going to heat this and press it down in where the vent is. And you can use a little tool or something if it helps. See, my cut's not in there. It's to the back side. And it's hot, so I'm pulling past this piece and see how it's giving me a good transition over. So I just heated the corners again. So you pull it tight, get my material over the edge. Also use my Olfa knife. It's got rounded edges when I'm pushing in these corners. Gives me a crisp corner. So when I did my first wrap, I came back and cut the material back far enough so when I glued and heated the inside and rolled it back, there'd be a ledge on the inside for me to cut. Now know that the thickness here is like 3/16 maybe. It's not very big at all. But if you have it stuck good, you should be able to do precision cut. Again, the Olfa knife is what I typically use. These little razor blades are perfect for that. It's got good control and everything. Okay, so here's where we stand. Boom. Boom. Okay, our outers are done. Now, we routed those edges so it sets up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's completely sunk below this grill. Now we got to cut for the 4x6s. I got my hole cut. Before we do a final wrap on this, I want to make sure this fits. If everything looks good, then we're grill cloth on this and we should be done. So let's fit it and see where we end up. What I want to do on my piece, I'm not going to glue the grill cloth. I'm going to glue only the back. And then I'm going to pull it around. I'm going to let it get a little tacky. I'm going to pull it around and wrap it into it. Because this will absorb it and soak through it, it'll hold it. I don't want it on the face of the grill. Again, I'm floating the face, gluing to the back. I'm leaving that in. Let's get the glue on it. It's thick on it. I'll lay this down. I got bored on it a couple days and I made a bunch of these. I have some liners in my toolbox that are made up of this. Anyway, my jagged grill cloth piece. I just want it on a clean surface. If I lay it on that glue, I'll just screw it up. Just going to do face down. This stuff works a little different than vinyl. You'll have to work it just a little bit because it's about well, it's grill cloth, super thin, so it'll tend to bunch up and stuff. So it'll just take a second to kind of get lined up. Doing the sides is pretty quick. Show you what it looks like before I turn the access off. See, we're going to go around. I kind of made a dart here. When I pull off over the edge, I pinch it together. That way I get a good transition in my edge. See, I got two of them here. That way the front looks good. All right, that's it. I got it wrapped. You can see through it. Trimmed out the back, cut it out, glued it. See how tight it is? Put that together, and that's what we're looking at. I think that'll look good in the truck, right? Here they are, finished up. Gonna do the centerpiece, and then when we look to the back, this will match it. And then when we do the 4x6s in the back and those side panels, I gotta kind of mimic that as well, so that it all turns out looking the same. Still got that piece around the gauge cluster to do. Kind of got it pulled up right now. The glue didn't hold. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that puts some of y'all out and in the creative mood to do something. Just start hacking stuff up. Simple changes, simple piece like just adding grill cloth and getting rid of the center. That kind of a large impact for such a little deal. Thanks for watching.